You cannot reason with a tiger when your head is in its mouth.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Training Block Check-In number 7. I am your host, John Wetmore, and I'm here to tell you about my self-coached weight loss and bodybuilding journey, specifically the last 4-week mesocycle of my training, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all included. For those new here, I am a former college football offensive lineman with a degree in exercise science, who also has around 7 years of lifting experience under my belt. I am currently a personal trainer, and in the past I have interned with some incredibly smart people in the strength and conditioning field. So the goal of this series is to pass along some of the knowledge I have gained along the way so that you may use it in your own training, or at the bare minimum, you are going to get a 4-week lifting program for completely free, as well as some entertainment. Looking at long-term goals, the main goals of this series are fat loss, retaining as much muscle mass as possible, injury rehab, and preparing for competing in a bodybuilding show way down the line. We have something very fun to talk about today, as I recently had a body scan test done for the first time since December, which is around the time that I started this series. So we get to look at all of the changes that happened over that stretch of time. With the body scan tests, full transparency, it was done by one of those in-body scan test machines where you're standing on the platform, hang your arms out, which I know doesn't always deliver the most accurate results. I went from weighing 292.2 pounds on December 27th to weighing 275.5 pounds on July 6th, which is a hair over 6 full months. In this time span, total fat mass dropped from 85.1 pounds to 62.3 pounds, a 22.8 pound decrease. Skeletal muscle mass went from 120.4 pounds to 123.5 pounds, which is a 3.1 pound increase. Body fat percentage dropped from 29.1% to 22.6%, which I am incredibly excited about. That was far more than I was expecting. And last thing to talk about, part of it is, which I think is kind of the strangest results, being the total amount of water in my body going from 151.5 pounds to 156.1. Looking at injury rehab, things are going pretty solid. In my right hand, that I broke my scaphoid bone April of last year, and I've been trying to get that rehabilitated, with the current step being to return to a standard width barbell bench grip, where I have made considerable progress, as lately I have been pushing that hand with greater weight with the same range of motion, where I added 40 pounds onto that bench during this mesocycle alone. Right ankle rehab is also another thing I've been working on, which has been going steady. Its main issue being a lacking in range of motion, as over the years I have had several Achilles sprains, as well as a pulled calf on that side. It's not quite the same as the left side yet, but it is slowly evening out between the two. Another thing is, it is about an inch smaller than the other side. Lastly, competing in bodybuilding. A show not far from where I live has given an official announcement that June 5th of 2027 is the day that that show is going to happen. So, the plan is to be stage ready by that time. I know I have a long way to go, but I also have quite a bit of time to do it. So the goal is going to be take things slowly. We're not going to try to rush myself to the point where I either get injured or burnt out. Goals in the short term were quite simple. Lose a little bit of weight and survive the 4th of July weekend. Me, as well as likely most of you, indulge a little bit over the weekend, as well as a whole lot of travel. And I came in all right, going from 273.6 pounds to weighing in consistently around the 270 mark, roughly getting to where I want it to be. And hitting 270 means that I am officially at the halfway mark of this journey, being down 30 pounds out of the total 60 that I set out to drop. As far as my physique goes, I feel like I say this every single video that I make, but my forearms are continuing to improve so much. Vascularity's improved a lot. Definitely seeing a lot more definition, a lot more veins. I think my mid back has also seen tremendous amounts of improvement, especially since shifting my pull day to earlier in the week. Prioritizing that with a little bit more intensity has helped my back out a ton. My quads are definitely getting more defined. They are improving in vascularity as well. At least on my left quad. For some reason I have veins from the top part of my leg all the way down to my knee, but on the right side there is nothing. I also just see an overall increase of leanness around the board, which has me feeling good. Also, comparing my original progress pics to the most recent ones, I've definitely noticed I have lost fat in my face, which has me excited. Time for the fun part of the video, the lifting. For this mesocycle, we are continuing to do hypertrophy work. So, for the most part, we are doing everything very, very similar to the last mesocycle of training, except we're just taking down everything from sets of 8 down to sets of 7, which I know is an out of the ordinary number, but it still lands in that hypertrophy range. It also bridges the gap from doing sets of 8 from last mesocycle to doing sets of mostly 6, which I will be doing in the next mesocycle when I switch over to some strength focused work. Training split also stayed the same. Monday was back and buys, Tuesday was chest, shoulders, and tris, Wednesday was legs, Thursday was abs, forearms, and cardio, Friday was upper body, Saturday was lower body, and Sunday was my rest day. Then for the last set of almost all exercises in weeks 2 through 4 of the mesocycle, they are all taken to failure. In the corner where the lifting cards are, if a reps counter has either a plus after it or it is labeled as an AMRAP set, those sets were all taken to failure. Pull day was super exciting this mesocycle, with 3 sets of 7 assisted pull-ups followed by 1 AMRAP set of bodyweight pull-ups, 4 sets of seated Bayesian cable curls, 3 sets of cable pullovers, cable rear delt flies, and barbell shrugs, and finished the day off with 2 sets of 7 dumbbell bicep curls. I am super excited with how pull-ups went this mesocycle, as during week 4, I actually got 2 sets of 7 at body weight, which I was super happy about. Cable pullovers were the most surprising exercise out of this mesocycle for me. I enjoyed them a lot. I did not expect them to feel as good as they did. They felt tremendous for my lats, and they will definitely be making a comeback in my future training. Push day was composed of 4 sets of 7 paused barbell bench, seated dumbbell Y raises, and machine chest press. 3 sets of 7 overhead cable tricep extensions, and finished with 2 sets of 7 decline dumbbell skull crushers. Push day was very good all around. I am definitely trending in the right direction for bench press. I am very excited to see where it goes. I touched on it earlier, but added 40 pounds to my top set over this mesocycle. Extremely happy with that. Everything else on this day was very solid. I do think on an individual level, I needed to lock in more on the technique of my shoulder movement, specifically the Y raises, because mind muscle connection was just not there. I do think something that will help is in the future, whenever I set to do a block, I am picking new shoulder exercises at the start and just doing those the entire way out. Try not to switch up in the middle, just because when you do them, I like to taper down my reps. So when we start at the start of a block, we're going to be doing higher reps then, and that is more reps to drill the technique, because it helps learn that motor movement pattern, and I think that will be something that helps out tremendously on that front. Leg day was 4 sets of 7 barbell back squats, 3 sets of 7 prone leg curls, single leg press calf raises, and 3 sets of 8 to 10 kettlebell tib raises. Leg day was very good. Back squats are excellent as always. My all-star this leg day was the single leg press calf raises. I am a huge fan of these, as they get the calves working unilaterally through a full range of motion. And unlike most times that you're trying to set up a single leg calf raise, you can just set your foot on the floor and leg press above yourself, instead of trying to find some awkward way to hover your leg so it doesn't, you're not pushing on anything affecting the other leg's force output required to complete the rep. Cardio, core, and forearms day was made of 3 sets of 7 decline sit-ups, 3 sets of 35-second trap bar fat grip holds, 3 sets of 10 dumbbell ulnar deviations, and finished with 10 to 15 minutes on the Stairmaster, followed by a short walk. This day is almost identical to the week before, except cardio is scaled up a little bit. The ulnar deviations continue to be an excellent way in strengthening and stretching my hands' internal rotation, where it has been seriously lacking since my injury. Upper body day consisted of 4 sets of 7 dumbbell incline bench, plate loaded chest supported rows, 3 sets of 7 seated dumbbell shoulder press, and cable lateral raises, and finished with 2 sets of 7 on dumbbell hammer curls supersetted with neutral grip dumbbell bench. Upper day was by far the most questionable day for me, as it, especially towards the end of the mesocycle, I was incredibly exhausted and couldn't quite push as heavy as I wanted to while maintaining any semblance of good technique and form. I think it mainly stems from me, as most of those exercises, I've been doing them for a while. So when I was hitting my deload week, I put them too heavy in the deload. So by the time I hit week 4, I was just chasing numbers at that point and trying to keep the same scale of progress that I've had in the past. And I wasn't quite able to do that just because the numbers started off so high as is. So I was having to sacrifice my technique in order to move the weight, which I'm not really a fan of, as that heavily increases the injury risk. While looking at it purely from a bodybuilding perspective, it's not really going to do much extra, or if anything, in terms of packing on more size. Lower body day saw the return of deadlifts for 3 sets of 5 reps for week 1, 3 reps for weeks 2 and 3, and heavy singles on week 4, scaling down, and 3 sets of 7 paused calf extensions. This day was so much fun. I really enjoy deadlifts. They are my favorite exercise by far. I am also happy to say that I hit a new PR on deadlifts at 585 pounds. You saw it in the little intro clip I gave. Uh, that was also my first time ever using a true deadlift bar, which I think does help quite a bit. But at the same time, 6 plates is 6 plates. I am so happy with that. Sadly, the bar I was using, I was while I was on vacation that I found that and used that. So it's not something I'm going to be getting to use regularly unless my gym that I use regularly when I'm at home does decide to get one, which I'll be extremely happy if they did, but it is probably not going to happen. Although I'm not a power lifter, so it's not the end of the world for me. I'm going to be a little bit sad, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really hurt me a whole lot. Looking at this mesocycle of training as a whole, I am a big fan of the exercise selection for this one. I think just about every exercise in here, except for maybe 1 or 2, are all going to be making comebacks into my future training. However, I do think I will be switching up how I do my rep schemes in the future. I don't think I'll ever be going down to sets of 7 ever again for my hypertrophy work. It just doesn't feel the same in terms of pump and just overall feel. I'm just not really a fan of it. If you've watched the last few episodes, you would know that I have tapered down from sets of 12 to 10 to 8, now down to 7. In the future, I'm going to be planning another 4 mesocycles of hypertrophy work in a row. I think I'm going to either go with 14 or 15 reps for the first one, down to 12, down to 10, down to 8 for my last one. And we're going to see if that feels better. I think it will. Not too sure yet. We're going to feel it out and then draw conclusions from there. Right. Nutrition was mostly good except during the last about week and a half of this mesocycle, as I was moving into a new place, as well as soon as I got done moving in, I ended up going on vacation for the 4th of July. So I was eating out a lot more, eating a lot more frozen meals, just things that were easy to cook. Definitely better than how my nutrition was in the last training block check-in, but still not as good as I want it to be. It is definitely the part where I struggle the most. If you are somebody that is interested in some high protein, low calorie option meals, I will have a link to my Meal Prep 101 playlist where I will be, over time, I will just be throwing in meals as I make and record them. There's a couple in there already. They're all high protein, relatively low calorie options. Biggest thing for my nutrition, it was eat around 500 calories under my maintenance, as well as hitting 250 grams of protein, as I'm a big guy. I need my protein. Obviously, 250 is the low end. We're obviously shooting for higher. We want to get in that 275, 300 range. It's especially important during the cut because I want to maintain as much muscle as humanly possible. And you at home should be wanting the exact same thing when you're cutting, because if you're not trying to retain the muscle while you cut that you made on the bulk, it's all for nothing. You're going to be gaining and losing the same 10 pounds for the next 10 years. Other aspects of nutrition were very similar. 15 grams of creatine a day, and I've been still using the 1 of 1 loaded pre-workout. I am a huge fan of it. Give it a try. Also, I try to get around a gallon to a gallon and a half of water drank every single day to keep myself hydrated, which helps during your workouts. You're going to push yourself harder. It's also going to help in your day-to-day work life. all the other parts outside of the gym, you're able to think clearer. The next video in this series will encompass 22 weeks of training ending on December 5th, with the video coming out at some point after that. No idea how long that's going to take to put together and edit. Given that it will be a longer video, it may take a couple months to put together, so this series is going to be put on hold for a little while. For the future training that will be encompassed in that video, you're going to be looking at a 5-week strength mesocycle, followed by 1 week of active rest. Maybe going to get 1 to 2 total lifts in during that week. Then we're going to follow that up by 4-week mesocycles of pure hypertrophy work. For the diet during that block, we are going to be taking a diet break during that 5-week strength mesocycle, eating pretty much whatever I want, within reason, of course, still trying to do things like hit 250 grams of protein, all that good stuff. More so, we're just less worried about calories. During the hypertrophy mesocycles and the week of active rest, I am looking to be losing an average of 1.25 to 1.5 pounds per week, aiming to lose around 20 to 25 total pounds of fat mass, with the goal of going down from 270 pounds down to 245 pounds. After that block is complete, I will have 26 weeks until
it's showtime, folks.
The goal at that point will be to get incredibly lean, whatever it takes to get stage lean. I'm not really sure, as this will be my first outing in any sort of competitive bodybuilding. I will do my due diligence and prepare as best as I can, doing my research, looking at what other people have done, what's worked for them, and applying that to myself. But that will get outlined more in the next video, when I sort of break down how prep will look for that bodybuilding show I talked about earlier on June 5th of next year. As far as content goes, during this upcoming break, I will try to get out around 2 videos a month. Definitely want to get some cooking. I have a recipe for a high protein copycat of the Taco Bell cheesy double beef burrito that I really want to share because it is so good. I'm also working on a video about lifting footwear, and it's basically what kind of shoes you want to wear depending on what sort of activity you're doing in regards to everything lifting weights. Last idea for some videos is doing just full recordings of training sessions in a similar style to what Hattie does with the Diamond Gym, going through the full workout, recording it all, showing all the, mainly looking at the sets, looking how tough everything is. As I think it would be really neat because I don't really show off how hard I train. I think I am a individual that trains insanely hard, or at least compared to the people around me, and I really want to show that more, just that I can only say so much about how I train and show you what the results are. Like, that only gets you so far. That doesn't really show that, like, I am about that. So I do want to start recording some full lifts, just to give, especially these training block check-ins, a little bit more backing of, yeah, I am doing what it takes. And really shows that I practice what I preach. If you at home have any topics or video ideas that you want to see, please leave a comment. Tell me what you want to see. I would love to hear what you have to say, what you want me to make. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you found something in this video to be useful, or at least part of it to be entertaining. If you made it this far, please leave a like and subscribe to keep up with me on my journey. If you are interested in the program I ran this mesocycle, in this video's description, there is a link tree. In that link tree, there is a Patreon page. I upload all of my lifting programs from all these train block check-ins to that Patreon. So go check that out. There's a bunch from there. It is all completely free. You don't have to pay anything. It is free, FRW free. Also on that link tree, there are links to my TikTok and Instagram page where I upload all of my short form content, which in all reality is 90% videos of me flexing. The other 10% is just jokes and skits. But if you think that's something you enjoy, check it out. That concludes everything I have for you today. Until I see you again, God bless.